Hi, I'm Teddy, and this is Nikki, and we're going to be missionaries. And if you've been following our videos, we've been kind of doing personal testimonies, and this video is going to be about our marriage, how we met, and the first kind of formative years of our marriage together, and how they've impacted our life, and how God has led us and spoke to us in the past. We're going to be celebrating 15 years of marriage August 2nd. Right now, today is July 4th. Happy 4th of July.
So, we met in college at Pacific Union College, and at that time, me personally, I had been through several relationships that obviously didn't work out. And by the time I met him, I was just tired of trying to make guys fit to what I wanted, and so I just laid it all out before God and said, God, you send me the person that you want me to marry. And so when Teddy introduced himself to me, I was, first of all, he just came and sat down across the table from me at lunch and said, Hey, I'm Teddy. And I was with all my friends, and it was so weird, but I just was talking to
It
him.
wasn't weird, it was bold.
It was bold. It was. And so he only talked to me. He only spoke to me. He did not look at anyone else at the table. And it was clearly that he was interested in me. Um, Funny enough, at that time, it was spring quarter, and there were several guys trying to talk to me, which was just very interesting. But it gave me this huge boost of confidence that I was like, dude, I can get any guy I want just because the few people were talking to me. And so it drove me to be picky with him. And so I just said, God, if he's not the one for me, just take him out of my life. And so, um, but he, like, I could see that he was a good guy, and I just prayed so much about it. Um, and then you said that you're,
Well, I didn't pray as much as she did, but I had a grandma who was praying for me, and she prayed for me. She prayed for all of us, but she really prayed that we would find the right spouse, and her prayers were answered because, yeah, Nikki was probably the best thing that happened to me aside from getting baptized and giving my life to Jesus.
so,
Seriously.
so then, so then we got married, and um, then so our very first year of marriage, we had a situation where a very close couple to us went through a really hard time. They ended up getting a divorce, but from that, we just thought to ourselves, if this can happen to them, this can happen to us. And so we came up with three rules of marriage,
Yes.
and those
Rule
are
number one is you have to keep God at the center of the relationship. So that means both parties have to have be seeking a relationship with God. Rule number two is you have to put the other person's happiness first, and that's actually going to be pretty counter cultural right now. Everyone is saying, "Oh, you got to look out for yourself. You have to be, you need to take care of yourself." No, if I'm taking care of her and she's taking care of me, we don't need to worry about ourselves. But that goes into rule number three. Rule number three is don't let molehills become mountains. If you have a problem, you have to say something. So if she does something that bothers me and I don't say it, whose fault is that? And it just keeps bothering me and I just let resentment build up. It's my fault. She doesn't know that what she's doing is bothering me. She's not doing it out of spite. She's not trying to be rude or mean to me. So it's more specific than just communicating. Oh, we have to keep communication open. It's being specific with what it is, whether it's a need that's not being met or it's an action that hurts the other person. It's just letting them know.
even if it's as small as, like, sometimes he'll make um, a hot drink for me, and he'll put way too much creamer in it, and me just like politely saying, like, hey, next time, do you think you could thanks for making me this drink, but could you put a little less creamer? Just things like that. And then the other person, like, you just have this loving relationship.
That's a bad example. Every drink I make for you is perfect.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I just felt like God used that terrible thing to kind of form us. And so then we just really wanted God to be in our relationship. But again, you're young and you're immature and you don't really know how to do that. But God was teaching us.
So a practical, just so that you guys can know, a practical approach is having devotional time together every day.
Yes.
And we had this book called, it was called The Little Devotional Book for Couples. And that was really good. And that helped us form those 3 rules for a successful marriage also. But having that time with God alone and then with God together.
Yes, alone and together, and praying together. Praying is a very intimate thing, and that is something you should do as a couple. And being vulnerable with each other and just being positive and uplifting. The whole world tears you down. So we lived with a couple for our first year, and it was funny. I think that really bound us together because it was so difficult at times. It was really fun and great, but
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
And so I think people discouraged, and we really knew that it was going to be hard. But I am so thankful that we did that. So I just want to wrap this video up and say that we know that God is with us, and our marriage hasn't been perfect. We have both hurt each other, and we have gone through some very difficult times. But because God is at the center of our relationship and we can always go back to Him, we have survived. And if God is for you, no one can be against you. So I just want to encourage you, if you are at that place in your life where you are looking for a spouse, or maybe you're in your marriage and you're having a difficult time, throw it at the feet of Jesus and cling to Him and allow Him to, number one, choose your spouse, because He's going to do a way better job than you can, and two, to just, if you have a spouse, give your spouse to God and allow Him to work everything out. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great Independence Day, or hope you had a good Independence Day. Ciao.